Welcome to 101 Ways of Being, the podcast that's all about how we discover our own way to be. Today we hear from Trayvon Watson, an animator and illustrator who I've known since the days of running around at recess. In this episode, we get into the importance of developing our skills and honing into what it means to be creative.
With like creativity and stuff like that, I feel like everybody's creative. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like the point of like the person realizing it or not, because like all too often do I get like once I tell people it's like, oh yeah, I do art or I do animation or something like that, they're like, oh, I'm not creative at all. I'm just like, you're wrong. Every human is creative, you know what I'm saying? So it's just about the point of like, realizing it and stuff. So
right. It's like reconnecting with your inner kid.
Yeah, that's really all it is. And like how I explain it to people is like, do you choose what clothes to pick? Like, do you do your makeup? Like, do you do your hair? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, anytime you decide to like do something, anytime you like solve a problem, you know what I'm saying? You're creating solutions. You know what I'm saying? You're adapting your problem. You know what I'm saying? Creativity is just problem solving.
Whether it is like, solving whatever sort of problem you have, or it is like, sketching something out or writing something. I mean, I even kind of see that as, it's like, okay, maybe you're bored or something like that. You're still like solving some sort of like.
Exactly.
Thing,
yeah. Cause because like if you're bored and you're like choosing an activity to do, that's a creative solution of solving the problem of boredom. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, whatever you like, anytime you choose something, I feel like is like creativity in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're creating a situation almost. So yeah. I just think it just depends on how you like look at it,
Yeah, it is very true that it's like some people like they don't think of it as like a choice of being like, oh, I'm creative or not, but it's like it is a choice. It's like it's you choosing to take that time to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to think of a solution. I'm going to think of what can I do right now? How can I, improve my situation?
Yeah, exactly.
Or process this emotion or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, every time you like adapt or anything like that to any situation is, all in the same realm of stuff, I believe. Because it's like, like when you think of, say, like I always like say like two like poles of I guess like thought or like absolute or like math or like anything else, which is like creative stuff. Because like if you think about like arts or like anything creative, the main difference is that like there's infinite solutions, which makes it like hard. Whereas like with math, it's like, okay, I'm just trying to find one solution.
What else have you been up to lately?
So mostly I've just been trying to like catch up on like a lot of like my projects. So recently I've been like, I have a full-time job where I've been doing like animation stuff for like a tech company in San Francisco, doing like some of their character animations for their platform. But my freelance stuff, I've been doing more stuff like, I've been trying to actually like pitch a show. So like I've been trying to like get a pitch deck together for like a show. We're calling it Imperial Beast. It's like me and a few friends, and it's basically about like how people learn like survival techniques and like really like martial arts and stuff like that from animals. So that's where it's called Imperial Beast. Yeah. So I've been like trying to like catch up on my ideas for that and like my like art for that. And other than that, like I've been trying to like live life. Like I spent like so many of like my, I guess like art years, like when I was like first like taking it seriously, like practicing like all the time. And I just felt like I was missing out on a lot of stuff. And I mean, I like practicing and stuff, and I love like, dedicating time to my work, but like, I just was like never hanging out with friends and like this and that. And like, and I think it was starting to like get to me, like it was starting to cause like a lot of burnouts and stuff. So.
Yeah, I totally relate to that feeling. Sometimes you just have to like, be like, all right, I need to have some fun and let loose.
Yeah, exactly. Or else you're going to like burn out, you know what I'm saying? And you're just going to be like disconnected,
Right. In like the past year we haven't really been able to connect with other people in that way. Like we've kind of had to be burned out.
Yeah.
Because we had no other choice.
Right. And then it's so funny because like that's like a lot of the times when you realize that like you take like a lot of things for granted, you know. It's just like
Yeah.
so many things that we didn't know that like we like needed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Like I went to my first show last weekend and I was like, oh my God,
Oh
like I
wow.
forgot how much I miss just like
Yeah.
being in a crowd of people.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. Like I can definitely identify with that. Yeah.
Mhm.
What show did you go to?
It was Super Task.
Super Task. Yeah, I don't know if I heard of that. Did you have fun though?
Yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
at this venue that's like in West Chicago, so it's kind of far.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
But
You made
yeah,
it though. Yeah. No, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. A couple of my friends were in town, so I was like, I guess that's a good reason to go out.
Yeah, for sure. What have you been up to?
I mean, yeah, just kind of picking up more freelance stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
nannying my niece, but she started going to daycare last
Mm-hmm.
week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I just kind of have like a few different deadlines coming up,
Oh, see. Okay.
trying to figure out my life.
Yeah, trying to get like everything in order. Trying to really, it's really like trying to like keep a balance, right? You know, so doing the things that you want to do. Being an adult is like so hard because it's like you have all these responsibilities that you have to do, but at the same time it's like you know in the back of your head you can do anything you want, so it's like like you're creating your own schedule and sometimes you get lost in it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can definitely be hard when it's like you get kind of wrapped up in like soon, like in a few weeks, I'm gonna be like happy to get my own health insurance.
Exactly,
Like
stuff
in
like
that, like finally at that age, and it's like, okay, now
yeah,
it's like you kind of do have to sometimes make like compromise as well. Like
yeah,
it's like I want to be able to support myself completely, like on writing, but at the same time, like I'll have to do other stuff as well.
yeah, definitely, yeah, no, for sure. What kind of projects do you have going?
Well, I'm writing an article for this magazine that I used to work for. I just like have
Hmm.
been writing for them every once in a while. And then I
Nice.
just recently got another new job, but
Hmm.
it's like kind of like just starting up. So we'll
Let's
see what
see.
happens.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I'm not like a writer, but like I feel with a lot of the projects that I work on, like I don't like the writing, like for a lot of the animation projects that I work on. So I'm just like, it's like I feel like I know people who can write better stuff, and I like feel like I can write better stuff. And then like, so I was talking with one of my like freelance clients like recently about like storyboarding, because like when you storyboard in
Mm.
like animation, it's basically like visual writing. It's like, you know, you're setting the shots, you're setting the scene, you're basically like directing the visuals for like the whole project. And like my problem with like a lot of the projects that I had been working on was that like the storyboarding and like the writing, like you can kind of fix a lot of the writing and the storyboarding if you know how to like place your camera, you know how to like pace the story a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of the projects that I have been working on where I was just like an animator, I would just take a shot from the storyboard and just like make it move smooth. And I'm like, it's like this shot is so dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like whose idea was this? You know, kind of thing. So so I was talking with one of my bosses, just like, yeah, you need a better storyboard artist or something. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why it helps to do stuff on a team of people where it's like, okay, that's your strength. This is my strength.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
But
Then like having like somebody who can do the job, but it's not necessarily the best at the job. Like that happens a lot too. Like
mm,
in a lot of like startup studios and stuff like that. You know, like I know I feel like I'm starting to really buckle down on my strengths, because like I'm thinking about like my portfolio and like what I want to be known doing within
mm,
the realm of animation, like more like action stuff. And like whenever I get a project where it's like, I don't know, like a kid show or something like that, or you know, like or like a children's book or something like that, it's like I can do it, but it's just like I'm not. It's not like I'm not like the perfect guy for the job. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
the same way with like social media marketing. Like I can do it, but it's not my strength.
Yeah.
But it's like with a lot of like freelance writing stuff, it's like that's something they also hire you to do. It's like you do blog posts, you write social media posts.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could just do the blog posts.
Yeah. I think like, yeah, I know a lot of like copywriters do stuff like that for like marketing agencies and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like a lot of people who don't know a lot of information about like creative stuff, they'll try to loop it all together. I know it's easy to do that as well. Like, we kind of all do it, but like when you hire somebody, I feel like it really helps to know like people's strengths, especially because if I get hired to do something that I can do, but I don't necessarily like doing, I'm going to have a hard time doing the job and it's not going to be the best that it can be. So it's like, we both lose, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to get the best product and I'm going to have like less than a favorable time doing it, rather than somebody who's like strength it is doing it. It's going to have a blast and you're going to get a better product, kind of thing. But like when I was starting out, like I used to take like every job I could get, you know what I'm saying? So like all the freelance stuff was like, yeah, I'll do anything, this and that. And then like looking back on it, I was just like, I did not enjoy that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's a
So,
lot of freelance stuff that I did in like years ago that I'm like, it ended up just being such a short-lived thing because I was like, I'm just not into this.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah.
Like, especially with startups, it's like sometimes it's hard when it's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like not always organized super well, if that's the right word to put it. Like
I agree. No, for sure. I'm in like a similar situation with a few of my projects as well. Yeah. It's definitely not organized as well because I feel like a lot of the people who like create it or like the CEO of whatever company, like they don't exactly know what they want, like,
right.
Artistically or like creatively,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
But that's how you learn, like, okay, this is the kind of project I want to take on. And like,
Definitely.
once you do get that more experience, you're able to have the discretion. Like in the beginning, like you said, like you have to take on everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cause then you like know it's like, okay, now I know what I like, now I know what I don't like, kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because once you think of like the things that you like want to do, I feel like that's how you get better. Like once you get like your specialization like more like clear, like exactly like how to practice like specifically, and like I just feel like they help you learn in a more like concentrated setting.
Right.
So yeah, and that's why I always try to like help, or at least I want to like help like early creatives or like younger kids and stuff like that. Like, and I always ask people like what do they like to do, like this and that, and that's like the hardest question. Seems like the simplest thing, but it's like the hardest question. But like once you figure that out, like you can like take that to the moon.
Right. Like once you actually realize, like, okay, once you can admit to yourself, like, this is what I'm actually talented at, like, I can do this. And then you start like really, I don't know, it's like then other people can like see that in you too and they'll want to support you.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's inspiring too, though. Like if you watch stuff like I watched like Queen's Gambit like a couple months ago. Right?
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah, and like the most inspiring thing about that was that like, okay, like yes, she was like a kid prodigy. That I know that's like uncommon, but the fact that she also liked it and wanted to be the best and wanted to be good at something, and she hyper focused on like that one thing, which was like playing chess. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like everything else. Well, she got it and then lost it, but that's a whole different issue. But a lot of things fell into place for her. Like a lot of issues were solved for her because she had like a sort of thing to follow, like something specific to practice and get good at. Because when you think like when you're like exploring, there's nothing wrong with that, but like a lot of people think that they like all these things, and they could, you know what I'm saying, but they're trying to focus all of them at the same time. It's like kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You kind of have to like dedicate like specific times for each things, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I wish I would have done when I was a kid, because like I felt like I had so many different things going on between like basketball, skateboarding, drawing, and like games, martial arts, like all this stuff, and I was like trying to do them all at the same time, and then I ended up being like just okay at like all of them,
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand though, I do feel like like, yes, it's good to have like that one focus, but at the same time, like, then like in the moments that you get into like creative ruts or whatever, like, I think it's good to still have other hobbies to be like, all right,
Definitely.
you know,
Yeah, I
like,
agree for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause-
because it helps. It does help like prevent like your burnout and stuff, and it does like. I mean, and two, like I don't think necessarily like I guess like looking back on it, it wasn't necessarily like a waste of time, because like all those things like I still keep with me as like feeling like my creativity or like my inspiration. Like
yeah.
you can probably see like all those different like interests like in my like work like going on. You know what I'm saying? So like if
Hmm.
I hadn't done like all those like physical activities, I might not be the best animator, or I might not be the animator that I am today, because it's
Hmm.
like human movement and like it still like incorporates in that, like, as long as you like adapt to knowledge, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's like different like things you can learn from doing different activities, but they can still be applied across the board.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. Like when I was younger, I didn't really, I don't know if it was just like not believing in myself or something, but I was just like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm not good at anything. There's all these different things I'm into, but I'm not going to like, I don't know. And now I'm like, oh, what if I had focused more on my writing or whatever?
Yeah,
Like,
that's how I get.
what
Yeah.
would it be like now? Like if I had been
Yeah.
developed, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like you can't like, I don't
Hmm.
know, you can't wish things were a different way, but
Yeah.
it's like, what if I had actually believed in myself back then? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you
No, I
know,
agree for sure. Mm. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, because I think it is like that's definitely like a natural thing to do. I feel like a lot of that comes from like a lot of the support that you may or may not get as a kid too, So that's why I was saying like helping like kids like, or just like younger like earlier creatives like understand that they can do like anything that they want to do,
Mhm.
because like say if you meet a kid who likes drawing but is like, yeah, but I think I might just go for graphic design or something like that, like I don't know if I can really do this, because I have like
Mm.
a cousin who wanted to do art, and then she was like, I don't know if I want to do art, and I tried to like encourage her to do it, but then I feel like I pushed too hard, and then like she just got turned off by it completely,
Mm.
and then I laid off completely. And then a year later, she's like, okay, I want to go to school for art. And I'm just like, okay, I see. Like, so I think part of it is like being there, and like part of it is just being like, kind of like that sort of visual that they can like refer to, or just like, just like an example almost.
Right, exactly. Having that
Yeah.
example, I think, is so important,
Hmm.
especially since it's like, if you sort of are someone that's like maybe the first in your family to like go
Hmm.
after like more of a creative career, something that's actually like what you're passionate about. It
Hmm.
could be hard when you don't have somebody else in your family, or maybe you don't have other friends that are like also doing
Definitely.
that thing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Or the people that are doing it, it's like, oh, well, they've been doing this for so many years, so they have
Right.
all this experience.
Right.
So
Yes. Yeah. See, I think that's even still powerful too, though, because I think we should sort of like, or I would like to help change the narrative on like talent a little bit,
mm,
because like when you think about like, because when you were saying like it's kind of hard to look at people who's been doing it for so many years, but I think that helps me, because it's like you're not seeing the talent per se, you're seeing all the work and experience that they have. So it's like the only
right.
difference between you and them is just 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, say, like, I don't know, your favorite writers might have been writing more than you've been born, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, writing for 30 years plus or something like that. Because when I was at like art school, we had like a seminar from like one of the like best animators that I have ever met, have ever known, James Baxter. He's worked on stuff like Spirit, like Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that.
Mm,
And he was, at the time, he was saying that he had been animating for like more than 25 years. And then the students were all like 20, right? And we're like, oh, it's not fair, this and that. And I'm like, he's been doing this longer than you've been breathing. Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's going to show, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like, you're not looking at the talent per se. Like, I think the talent comes in the passion and something like that. And like, it leads you to
Right.
actual practice. So I think,
Right.
yeah, I feel like if we change that narrative a little bit, I feel like it encourage like people to stick with stuff.
Yeah, totally. Because it's
Yeah.
like, you'll often, like, if you are at the beginning stages of your craft or your interests, it's easy to be like comparing yourself to the people that have made it that far.
Definitely.
But it's like there's something so cool about being a beginner too.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
to then be able to look back and
Hmm.
say like, oh wow, like my stuff has
Yeah,
really evolved. Like this is how
yeah,
I can look back and see how,
yeah,
how things have evolved.
yeah. And like this might be like a controversial idea with like creative stuff, but like I also feel like with creative stuff specifically and like learning the craft, I feel like you can only be so good with so many years of work because like you only have so much experience at a young age. You only have like so much exposure. You only have like, you know what I'm saying? That fuels like your
Mhm.
creativity and like your ideas. Like if you're a writer or like a visual artist, like how are you going to descriptively describe, or like how are you going to like describe like the Taj Mahal or draw the Taj Mahal if you've never seen it, never been inside it? You know what I'm saying? How
Right.
are you going to like write how, I don't know, how like sushi tastes like in like a story if you've never had it, if you're like 10 years old, you know what I'm saying? Or 8 years old or something like
Right.
that, you know?
Right, exactly. And like no hate on like the Prodigies because they're obviously like
Yeah.
incredible. But I
Yeah.
do kind of remember like when I was younger, like because I took piano lessons and there
Hmm.
was some kids that were just like,
Hmm.
wow, they
Yeah.
truly were a prodigy.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it was almost like, but they don't even, do they really understand like
Hmm.
the meaning behind the music? Like,
Hmm.
yes, they like, it's like there's a passion that you develop as you get
Hmm.
older. Not that you can't
Hmm.
have that passion at a young
Hmm.
age, because, obviously
hmm
like kids can still go through a lot too. But
hmm I think too, like, and that's kind of the difference that I like to point out too with like creative stuff, because like I feel like if you when you say like piano, I feel like part of it, I would say it's like, I don't know what percent, maybe like 60-40, like 40 creativity and like 60 like technical ability.
mm,
So I feel like prodigies sort of pop up more in like the technical trades more so than the creative trades, because like in the
mm,
technical trades, like you can be born with advantages, or you can naturally have advantages that put you over the top. Like if you say like
true.
basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're taller, you're going to be better and more likely to be a prodigy at a young age.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if you're just more flexible at birth, you can be better at gymnastics. You know what I'm saying? Like contortionists and stuff like that. So it's like with physical stuff, it's like, yeah, your body is what's telling you, but it's not like your mind. Like your mind can only be so, strong unless you're like a savant or something. Like, I still feel like I get like a lot of pushback where it's like, no, I know kid prodigies who draw like Picasso. Like I know kid prodigies who, and like, sure, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you do, but I like, if I haven't done the research, but like, I feel like if I had done the research, I feel like the percentage would be like night and day from like physical activities and like creative activities. You know what I mean? As far as like, say like 5-year-old prodigies, for stuff.
Right. And yeah, I mean, there's just, I don't know, it's like when I was younger, I was like, oh, I wish I just had this talent. I wish I was somebody that was like a
Mm-hmm.
movie star, or a singer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm realizing like how much it's like more satisfying when things happen, like as you get
Mm-hmm.
older. It's like
I
more like
agree.
rewarding.
I agree. It's like I've built this skill from like the ground up. And that's what I
Hmm.
like to tell people too, because like a lot of people see like my animations and like they see my art and stuff and they're like, oh, you're so talented. And I'm just like, maybe at one point, sure, you know what I'm saying? But like at this point, you're seeing like, years and like hours and hours of like me just being a nerd about this stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, similar with hooping, it's like people are
mhm,
like, oh man, you're so good. And it's like, literally, I'm not. It's just because I've spent all this time
extra practice.
practicing,
Hmm.
and anyone can pick it up.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. Like with pretty much like everything that I do, you know what I'm saying, except for probably like basketball. Like it's just like, yeah, anybody can pick it up, but like I feel like there's a lot of other like things that you'd have to be good at before even like considering like basketball. Like you just like one, you have to be athletic.
Hmm.
It helps to be tall. You know what I'm saying? Like it helps to have like
Yeah.
coordination. Like sometimes people are just clumsy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I am terrible at basketball, so well, it's like it's the different
Mhm.
flows. And I think it's just important to find like your own flow, like
Mhm.
your own
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like thing that you can find.
yeah, exactly. And I think that just helps so much. Like with my like like with my like inspiration, like my like creativity process, like I feel like it's a combination of like flow and like a combination of like technical skill.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like once you get like, and then this is with anything, like once you get like technical enough at anything, you just kind of like turn off and just like automatic. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of like let your
Mm-hmm.
mind go and like do what it does. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I feel like that's always like when I pick up any new thing, I feel like that's always the goal. Like learn the basics of like anything and just like play with it. Like kind of like go like full circle. Because when you first start, you don't know anything and you just kind of play, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you might get some good ideas that come out of it. You know what I'm saying? But technically speaking, it's like trash.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
totally.
saying? But then you learn like all the skills, and then like all that stage, you're like thinking too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I have to do this. I have to place the camera here. Oh, wait, no, this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I have to change this, you know, but then once you like
Mm-hmm.
get past that, it's like, okay, let me just do what I feel, you know?
Yeah, it is interesting how it's like with anything that you're developing, like whether it is like animation or
Mhm.
whatever. Oh my God, I totally just had a brain fart what I was saying.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah. But no, yeah, with like,
Yeah.
I think I know what you were getting at though. Just as far as like with anything that you set out to do is more about like learn the fundamentals and then learn how to like morph it into like your own flow, morph it into your own style. Yeah.
Right. It's like you
Yeah.
learn the basics just to get comfortable, to feel like, okay,
Hmm.
I can at
Hmm.
least like not feel like super clumsy or
Yeah.
super awkward doing this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like too, like it is so important, at least to me, that people learn to like love something or like become passionate about something and like really like learn skills or like learn or like, just like practice and like have something regular to like reach at because I feel like you
Mm,
learn so much about yourself through like trade or like through some sort of like skill and it builds confidence and like you really sort of like acclimate to like chaos, you know, like
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like within, you know, this world of like all these different like ideas and like all these different kind of people and stuff like that, you can kind of like navigate it a little bit better and just like know more about yourself and be more confident. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is what I like to do. This is my anchor almost, you know?
Like what you said about like developing a skill too, like that made me think of like cooking too, because
Definitely.
cooking is a big thing. Like once you learn how to make like a few basic meals for yourself,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is
Start to
something I can
play.
do for myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you can start to play with like that stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
That's like
experiment.
that's like one of my most favorite analogies to like art or like anything creative, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like everybody pretty much, not everybody, but most people pretty much uses like the same ingredients, right? So it's like you have only like a certain amount of ingredients. It's all about how you mix like different ingredients. Like say like, I don't know, if somebody has a recipe for like honey chicken. Like, yeah, we've had chicken, we've had honey before, but whoever thought to like mix it kind of thing. Like who was the first person who thought to mix those two ideas
Mm-hmm.
and play with that in a way, you know what I'm saying? The way I do my honey chicken might be different than the way you do it, you know? So it's like they might bake theirs, they might fry theirs, you know? So it's like
Mm.
a lot of different things you can play with, you know, just like anything else.
Yeah, endless
Yeah.
possibilities.
Exactly. So, oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
cool.
I always like to ask people to like how they like come into like the stuff that they like because,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I feel like in today's like society, like people have like such a hard time like talking about themselves.
Mm.
Like when they're like put on the spot, it's like so like when you ask somebody like what they like to do, they're like, oh, stop, like what? Like I don't know, you know, like
Yeah, I know. And
yeah,
it's like different day to day.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I feel like people don't want to be like vulnerable because like if you ask somebody like what they like to do and it's just like, oh, I like to pick roses. I feel like you know, like if they really like that stuff and then like you go and like you shit on their like picking roses activity, they're gonna be so sad. So I think like part of it is just like they don't want to be like vulnerable, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, especially when it comes to like how we get into what we like to do.
Mm,
And it's like And it's the same thing for like, oh, like, why did I pick up hoops? Why did I do these things? And it's like, it is like personal reasons. And it's like, it's not like you're just comfortable talking about personal things with anybody. But I don't know, like, feel like that's how we find connection, because it's like we all are into things, like we all have like a similar purpose of why we're driven to do these things, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think it's about like who's brave enough to share those reasons, because like I know, like, so like growing up, like I love like martial arts and like ninjas and stuff like that. And there's a lot of other people who like that stuff. And for the longest time, I like was pretty shy about like, sharing like why or how I got into like martial arts and like ninjas and stuff. Like pretty much the reasons like Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like never like let that go when I was a kid, and I just like evolved into like this whole other thing. And I was just like, and it was like, oh, but like like you do like these cool like fight scenes and stuff for like your animations. Like how do you think about that? And I was like, really? It's from playing with like action figures, like when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So like that stuff could be embarrassing, but it's like, but the more you do it, and the more like the better you get at it, the more confidence I feel like you build, and like the less the shame you are of like sharing stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you realize it's like not even something to be embarrassed about, because it's super normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like not everybody talks about it, so it's just I don't know. I just find it super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is so fascinating. Like, it's like, why is that person super good at drawing, or why is that person into singing? It's like, I don't know. And some people are just incredibly talented at anything they pick up, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, who are you? You know what I'm saying? But one thing I learned recently, I'm not exactly sure like what they call like the phenomenon or something like that, but it's like a lot of those people, I feel like, happen to practice smart in a way in which, like, say if you practice a certain skill that can be applied to like 5 other skills, right? So say like if you practice basketball, and now if you practice basketball, now you might be good at like high jump, you might be good at volleyball, now you might be good at running. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like those, like that skill from that can like apply to like these different things.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of the people who have like just pick up anything and be good at it, they just have that trait. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of like, oh, I can apply this skill to like all these other things. So that's why I tell people like within the realm of like drawing, like once you learn how to draw like a person, you can like draw anything. Because like the person's like the hardest thing to do. And like you learn like gesture and like line art and like all that stuff through that. And like it's said that we share like, I want to say like 75 or like 80% of our anatomy with like animals. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can apply that, like it's easier to apply those key principles to like drawing animals than it is from drawing animals to humans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. And even just like going back to like the basics of learning anything, like once you just learn how to learn and you continue practicing learning in whatever way that you like to learn, whether it is reading or watching videos or whatever, like staying consistent with like, I don't know, it's like keeping those like brain muscles activated.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's like, it's not really a secret. It's just like a lost art, because like everybody, like that's so not a secret. It's so in plain sight that it like seems like a secret, because like a lot of people are looking for the secret. They're like looking too deep into stuff that I feel like that they're missing the like consistent practice. It's like, what's the secret? What's the secret? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there's no secret. Like I've literally just do this every day, like, as much as I can, you're looking for a way out. So you're wasting time, like looking for a secret, So it's just like, just stay engaged with like the thing that you like. And like, most of the people who are good at stuff, they just like it that much,
Right. Yeah. And it's just like staying a student and staying open to continuing to develop, and not just, I don't know, like you don't want to narrow yourself down too much either.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, just being, like you said, just staying a student, wanting to learn and knowing how to learn, I feel like are really important to like mastery, you know what I'm saying? Like mastering anything. So it's less about like you know, less about like being talented. It's more just about like staying engaged, staying interested, I think.
Right. And it's like just putting yourself out there. Because it's like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, like, I don't know, like I always think of like within the flow community, it's like there's these people that have just started hooping maybe a year ago and they're already
Mm-hmm.
performing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, then like someone that's hooping for 10 years are like, oh, I wish I was performing. And it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
truly just like how you put yourself out there. It's like they're
Yeah.
marketing themselves. They're like reaching out to
Mm-hmm.
all the promoters, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
they're just doing what you're not doing, maybe, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And it's about like a lot of people, and too, that's like, I feel like that's a big like misconception too, with like the amount of years you're like doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people would like hear like 10 years and be like, oh, you must be really good. And then hear a person for like 2 years and like, oh, they're, you know, they're just starting out. It's like, well, person for 10 years and 2 years might have practiced maybe the same amount of time or like not that far away from each other. You know what I'm saying? It's about what you
Right.
put into the hours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
yeah, I've seen people like, I would say like if I've been drawing since about like I was like 8, I didn't really get good at drawing until like 18.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Or I wasn't starting to get better until like I was like 18. I was like around the same level, you know, similar level from like 10 to like 15. But then from like 18 to 19, it was like the highest, you know what I'm saying? The most I've ever leveled up in my whole like career of art kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people too, it's like never too late, you know, like you just like, if you practice for like 3 months consistently, like you'll see like a year's worth of progress kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so true. It
Yeah.
is never too late to start anything.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, you know, something physical that's hard to do. But
yeah, for sure. Because you have some kind of handicap, right?
yeah. But I mean, there are people that are like 80 years old that go skydiving.
Man, like that's goals. Like I hope I make it to that level, right? Like
I know. Like I want to still be like that vivacious at that age.
yeah, no, for sure. It's just crazy like how people's like youth never leaves their mind, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like as long as you don't like allow that to happen, you'll be good.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like
just staying a kid, like that's like been my goal forever.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that like the craziest part about that whole thing is that kids don't know that. Like you know, like man, I don't know.
I know. It's so crazy. Yeah. It's like when I was younger, I just wanted to be older. And now I'm like, why did I want that?
Yeah, no, I wish, you know, the classic saying, like, if I would have knew then what I knew now, kind of thing. So
yeah. Another classic saying, hindsight is 2020.
Man, yeah, exactly. No, that stuff is like so true. Like, man, it's like I don't know. It's crazy because like I feel like once you go through like right at the tail end of college is like when all this stuff starts to hit you. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, dang, like I thought I had it all figured out, you know? And then it's like I want to help prevent that happening to like other people. You know what I'm saying? Because like that was like not a good time. Like you know, like when you're like about to graduate college and you like everything, like your whole life was just like up in the air in a free fall. And it's just like you know what I'm saying? Like that, I feel like that happens to most people. Some people don't have that, but I think normal people do, you know?
Yeah. Or it's like, for me, it happened more like a couple of years later after I graduated, I would say.
I'd say that. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't stop. Yeah. Like
it doesn't stop. Yeah. Even now I'm like,
yeah, no, it's the same free fall now. I'm just aware of it, you know?
True.
Yeah. You know,
you learn how to better deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like when it first happened to me, like, that was just the start of it. Or that's when I just like sort of like realized it, you know what I'm saying? And it just kind of hit me kind of hard, you know? So I was like, dang, I thought I had it all figured out, you know? And like, and I didn't, and then part of what helped me realize that was when I was like, I think I just turned like 24, like 25. And I was actually working at Adult Swim, and like one of the interns was like, she was like 20 or something like that. So she was like real young. She was like a sophomore going into junior year. She had some kind of connect, you know, to like get there. And she thought she had it all figured out. And she was like so like attitudey, like nasty
Mhm.
with me and stuff like that. Because like in her head, like she thinks she's like smarter than she is and like all this stuff. And I was just like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's gonna hit you. Like
That is true. Yeah, it's like I
Mhm.
don't, like things definitely don't go the way you expect or plan.
Yeah.
So it's like a part of it is learning how to be more adaptable in the fact
Creativity.
that things are going to change. And
Yeah.
something I always say too is like the things that we're going to be doing like maybe 20 years from now if we're lucky to
Mm.
keep living then, like the things that we're going to be doing as far as like for making money, it doesn't even exist right now, you know?
True.
Like social
Yeah.
media marketing didn't exist
Didn't
until 10 years
exist.
ago.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah. No, that's
So
very
it's
true.
so yeah.
You almost gotta like, and that goes back to like what I like to think about too, is like you almost gotta like create your lane. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to have like your own like writing studio, if I want to have my own animation studio, I have to create it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and like and honestly that's like kind of what's keeping me in like animation, or one of the biggest things that's keeping me in animation is like because I want to make things that I want to see, right? Because
Mhm.
you have like a lot of people who criticize art and like say, "Oh, I would have done this, I would have done that." Okay, then do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you talk about like these movies and stuff like that, like you can do better, or like you're in that sphere to do it. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, there's not enough movies about this, there's not enough movies about that. Okay, make it. You know what I'm saying? And then if you can't make it, then don't complain. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I mean, everybody's entitled to,
Mhm.
opinion and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But that's kind of how I took it. It was just like, oh, there's not enough shows about this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's just like, I don't like everybody's a critic. You know what I'm saying? I don't think everybody necessarily should be. It's just like
Mhm.
if you're not gonna like it's the same thing too with like society. It's like you criticize other people, you know what I'm saying? You like criticize like other things and like all these businesses and stuff. What are you doing to help it? What are you doing to change it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what are you doing to better the earth? Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, pollution is this, pollution is that. It's like, okay, what part are you playing? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you playing your part? So it's like, that's kind
Mhm.
of how I feel in like, in the animation realm, because it's like, okay, like kids need these kind of stories. Kids need these kind of like animations, like, and that's what helps me keep going. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, oh, you should do something like this. And I was just like, you can do that. You gotta say, I want to do this. You know what I'm saying? Unless you hired
Mhm.
me to do that, and that's you playing your part.
Yeah, playing your part and actually being proactive in the part you're playing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that circles us back too to like finding the solutions to problems.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's where it starts, right?
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. To learn more about Trey, you can check out his website, TrayvonWatson.com, which will be linked in the description down below, along with the links to our website and social media if you'd like to follow along and stay updated on future episodes. You can also hit that post bell notification button if you are on YouTube, or hit the follow button or subscribe if you're listening on one of the listening platforms. You can sign up for our newsletter by visiting our website or by clicking the link tree in our profile on social media. I'm so thankful for your support of this show so far. I'm your host, Julia Schroeder, and this is 101 Ways of Being.